Hello and welcome to Decorating Pages podcast. I am your host, Kim Wanup. It's an exciting time. We're in full awards season here. I mean, really in deep, let's put it that way. And I have another ADG nominated interview here for you. And you still have another week for ADG voting, by the way, which goes up until the 25th. With the event on the 28th. I'll talk about that in a bit. And then you have Oscar final voting the 26th to the 5th. This episode, I'm just going to say I reached out to them because I loved this show. I said it many times on this podcast and I told everyone about it. It is Death by Lightning on Netflix with production designer Gemma Jackson and set decorator Hannah Gawthorpe. And boy, I just really enjoyed speaking with them and hearing all about creating Washington in the 1800s, the research they did, the fabrics, the chandeliers, everything. We're going to get into it. So I do want to promote that this podcast, me, will be live from the ADG Awards starting at 5 p.m. on February 28th. I don't know how that's going to go. It's going to be great. I'm just going to set it up and you can see me, walk around and talk to people. And I'll be set up. I'll have a stand. I'll have mints. So if anyone is going, please stop by. Please talk to me. It'll be a really good time. There's so much talent in that room. It's an amazing year for TV and film, and I'm so happy to be there. So please jump online. I have many links in emails and subscribing. And if you go to the YouTube channel and under live, you can say, wait for this event. And then it'll give you a little nudge when it's ready to start. But again, 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. And then I'll have interviews with winners afterwards, which will be on the following week's podcast. So yeah, got that going on. What else is going on in the world? I have talked to some people in town and it seems like it depends on who you talk to. Yeah, it's kind of busy. Yeah, it's really dead. There is New York. Some one person said like there is so much work going on. And then others are like, yeah, we're regular busy. We're not busy. I've heard Atlanta's kind of slow. Toronto's picking up or is picked up. So there is work to be had. Try to find it. There's things starting up in LA and there are mostly, I think, second, third season shows in LA going right now. There's not too many newbies, is that I'm hearing. There are some films, but they're like quick films. They're like 30-day films with big stars. But hey, it's in LA. Let's, there's a thought. Vote for LA. Vote for things in LA. I don't know. Well, you got to vote for the work. I can't go against my grain. You got to vote for the work. You can't vote for your popular shows or your friends. You got to vote for the work. So let's just keep with that. I'm going to keep my stance there. What is Wanup watching? Well, with all the horrific things going on in the real world and my late night deep dives on TikTok for the Trump Epstein files and this Guthrie mom. I mean, where is she? Me and my best friend were saying we're pretty sure we could have found her by now. I don't know. And she might have been found by the time I post this. I'm actually on vacation right now. I'm visiting my family, so I'm doing this before she's found. I hope she's found by the time this comes out. Let's pray. But I've turned to comedy. I've turned to try to watch funny things because it's just too goddamn depressing to do anything else. And the Olympics are so inspiring. My 7-year-old boys and I sit down every night and watch events and explain to them the events, and it's fantastic. I love, love, love the Olympics every time they come around. And I don't know who designed the home base set that they have. Since it's in Italy, they went for a classical column and pediment sort of design there. And I'd say it's teetering on cheesy, my friend. I think the color palette is it's because it's kind of trying to be marble and all that. I don't know. From what I've seen so far, it's not great. But I mean, it's doing its job. It's conveying Italy, I must say. So that is good. Another, I don't know who designed. I have asked so many people. I've asked at least 5 or 6 people if they knew who designed the Super Bowl halftime show. If you know, please tell me. I've checked so many posts online. There are hundreds of posts about this halftime show, and the designer, decorator, art director, creative director, they're never mentioned. So I can't confirm who did it, but I think it was fantastic. And I know I should have talked about this last week, but I didn't. But I didn't have the name, and I kept trying to get it. Anyway, I thought it was great. And as my friend Adam Rowell said, it was like watching a live music video. It it led you through a story. All of those grass people were fantastic. I don't know any of his songs, but visually it pulled me in and it made me interested in what was going to come next. And I think that that was just great design. Always fascinated how they take it up and put it down so quickly and have that restraint is crazy as a designer and decorator. So bravo to them, whoever did it, and I am sure you'll be around Emmy season. Other than that, I mean, I really have just gone back to I Want to Laugh. And with the sad passing of Catherine O'Hara, I was watching Schitt's Creek, which is always good. It's always a good laugh. I mean, all the scenes, all the characters, they're really good. Production designer Brandon Smith, I looked up, did all 80 episodes. And set decorators Joseph Suzanne and James McCrindle were the decorators on that show. I mean, it's fun. You had a fun time. You know it. I know it. Because I also have been watching my own work on Parks and Rec. I can't not ever turn on Parks and Rec and Veep. And even if I didn't work on them, I still would be turning these shows on. The Office. I would still be turning these shows on because they make me laugh. I used to watch Seinfeld all the time, and I'm over it. Not over it ever, but it's too, I know every episode. I don't want to watch it anymore. So even though I know Parks and Rec, it still is funny to me. And with Veep, like I catch things, even though I worked on it, that I didn't catch before, especially with Veep. The jokes are so amazing and they come out so fast. So I do. I like I'm not watching my own work. I think I actually take off my designer eyes and just enjoy it, which is really nice. I did check out the new show, The Burbs. Production designer Susie Mancini and set decorator Rachel Ferreira. It's a lot of uni backlot. It's a lot of taking over those houses and then I'm sure building your interiors. And I only watched the first episode. I am confused on whose house it is. It's really well layered and, decorated, and the influence of the characters are in there, but they just moved in. I guess I, as a decorator who have done so many times, like, well, they just moved in. Eventually we'll, make it look like they're fully in there, and then you get mad because you're like, well, the space doesn't look finished, and then now I gotta work every episode to like fill this in. But to me, like, they're already in episode 1 and they just moved there, so, or at least it seems like they did. I feel like I would have waited a little. Like, I feel like they should have waited a little. That's my only critique. I think it's a really well done, very layered home, very well decorated. I just didn't know it would be, I don't know. I liked it. It's cute. I'll probably continue watching it and see what's up, see who's in that creepy house and who's, where the story goes. I love the movie. I've watched that Tom Hanks movie so many times that I'll check out the series. So yeah, that's what I've been watching. That's what I've been up to besides kids and living life and traveling. I'm traveling right now for this long holiday. So yeah, I hope you are too. I hope you are enjoying any days off you're getting and stopping to smell the roses. Let's put it that way. But let's get to this one because again, I was so excited to talk to them. I loved the show. I've watched it twice. I think it's just great. I loved Nick Offerman in it, who I spoke to because I did a commercial with him. If anybody caught that commercial during Super Bowl, I don't know if it aired here. It was him and Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and it was about overseas voting. We did that, and I was happy to be a part of that. So I got to see him and Julia, and told him just how fantastic I thought this project was, and he went on about the sets. It was great to hear him talk like that, and the crew, and really had a good experience on it. So yeah, Death by Lightning. This is a Netflix series. It's only 4 parts, which really bummed me out. But this interview is with production designer Gemma Jackson, who, let's just talk about her for a second. Winner of the Emmys in 2008 for John Adams. So she has a history of researching all this, which is great. Winner 2012 for Game of Thrones. Bravo. Nominated in 2013 for Game of Thrones. She has an Oscar nomination for Finding Neverland. And as I said, this project is also ADG nominated right now. Her set decorator Hannah Gawthorpe and her did just an amazing job, their whole team. So, if you're into American history, politics, and on an obsessive level of period detail, this show is for you. Again, it's on Netflix, 4 parts. It is about James Garfield and the assassination that just created a whole new era of probably presidential security. And somehow they rebuilt the United States Capitol in Budapest. Now, I know what we're thinking. I know what we're talking about here. But they did a phenomenal job, especially with it being period. They have a different feeling for New York, a different feeling for Washington when you watch this. And the White House just is pristine. And to see it in that time and to see it simplified and in its pure beauty is just great. I thought it was just great. So we really get into some nerdy stuff. We talk about the restraint of the decor and design in the White House, wallpapers that they chose, chandeliers, research about the 500 stars that they had to hand sew onto the 38 star flags for this giant convention they put together. And of course, you know me, I had to get into some drapery. So I loved it. I loved talking to them. So I hope you enjoy.
Everything crossed first.
Yes. If I have told one person to watch this, I have told 50 people to watch this. I think it's spectacular. I love everything about it. I'm a huge White House dork. I cried when they just tore down that East Wing, believe me. And so
Oh my God. Yeah.
I've done 2 shows about West Wing and recreating the West Wing, so and the White House. So very like into like, oh my gosh, look what they did. And to me, the period that you guys got to do is so interesting. It's so beautiful and so pristine in a sense.
Elegant and yes.
Yeah, yeah.
What did you think of it though, as an American set decorator? What did you think of our version?
I loved it. I had to stop many times and look at the drapery. I loved the layout of the rooms and how you use them as when you bring his bed in and you're still using, those spaces and showing like the fireplace and things like that, and the chandeliers are fantastic. Um I to me also the scene, which I know is not quite, you guys, but it's sitting outside of the White House, how people just sat right there so
Mhm.
close.
Yes.
That to me was like, "Oh, I guess they did do that." Like I'd never really thought about it and maybe have never seen that in a film.
It was a slight exaggeration, but there is a huge park if you look at the whole layout.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, in the script, they kept on about him, them seeing people in the windows, and we were saying, well, I think that's pushing it a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah. Yeah, he was looking out.
Nevertheless, it was quite close from that. I mean, obviously, it wasn't there at all, but it was quite close. We played it, but there were gardens and things all
Yeah.
around.
How did you find shooting Budapest for DC? How did you, or America? I mean, you were in many cities, so.
Yeah, I've done it quite a few times now. I mean, I did a series a long time ago called John Adams,
Mhm.
where
Oh yeah, well
actually
yeah,
we,
yeah,
we, we did the East Wing, which is quite, it was the whole beginning of the White House. They were sort of camping out in the White House, and
yeah,
there were still people supposed to be around building, etc. But and we finished that off. We built a lot in Richmond, Virginia, and then we came to Budapest and did European stuff. But this time we did it all there. And it kind of once you sort of accepted that that's what you were going to do
yeah,
and sort of took it on board, it was extraordinary how one started to differentiate different parts of the city, some of the towns outside the city. And we ended up, Hannah reminded me today of six different parts of the USA. I
Yeah.
always said it was four, i.e., Chicago,
Chicago,
New York, Washington, and Ohio.
right,
But we also went to a bit of Tennessee for the war.
Yeah, a bit of
And
New Jersey as
and
well.
New Jersey, yeah,
The sea
yes,
where he kind
that's right.
of
And I really think, I mean, I'm saying this, you live there, but I really feel we managed to differentiate between the different
yes,
places.
yes,
I mean, in some ways, it didn't matter too much whether you thought you were in New York or Washington. But on the other hand, the whole sort of skullduggery of New York, and
yes.
then Washington being the more parliamentary side of things, I think we did it really with kind of how we use the spaces and then how we dress the spaces. I think, as I'd say, it was more sort of skullduggery in New York. So that became more down by the docks and clubland and that sort of
It's a
thing.
little
Ohio,
grimier. It was a little grimier or something.
yeah,
A little,
yeah,
yeah.
and there's not a huge amount of grimy to be found.
in
So
Budapest. It's a very clean city. So
It's
we hung on to that bit there.
when
But
you.
every time you watch a show done there, it's extraordinary what everybody
Oh,
does.
I know,
And
and I've heard the craftsmanship and the crews are amazing, and
if you get the right one, you've got
yeah,
to, you need to get the good ones. There's
yeah.
a few dodgy ones too.
Well,
I
that's
think
yeah, that could
we
happen anywhere.
yeah, you've been out there before. I've been out there before 3 times. I've done it for Paris before. I know lots of it's dupes for kind of Russia, parts of Russia as
Yeah.
well, because you've got kind of a mix of brutalist architecture. Then you've got kind of
Yeah.
big open avenues that give you Paris, and that's why it's such a versatile place to be,
Yeah.
really.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did you find it hard getting, or did you ship over Americana type stuff like these buntings and flags and everything? Did you have things made?
That was all made,
This
wasn't
was
it?
all made. So
Made it.
Yeah.
we sort of established that because at the time the flag wasn't set in stone. There was lots of different versions of
Yeah.
the flag. Kind of in later history, it becomes kind of set. So we established early on in like conversations how we wanted our 38 star flag to look because we wanted to keep it cohesive across the show and not kind of play with that visual because we didn't want to confuse people.
Right.
And then we made all of these. We cut out about 500 stars for this set. So it was weeks and weeks and weeks. This is one of the first ones we did. Yeah, it's one of the first ones we did.
Yes.
And so therefore we had drapes on for weeks and weeks and weeks making all of these. And we did lots of dyes and tests on the fabric to make sure it read like not so fresh that it just felt
Yeah,
kind of it needed something
it
to because
needed
it's period.
yellowing. Yeah.
It needs a little bit of something to make you believe that it's still period. And then all the individual banners were done by graphics so that each it represents all the delegations. And we found kind of like Republican papers of the time that tells you who was there. And we had this amazing researcher on, and I did about 2 weeks of we all needed to research. I did weeks of research, graphics did weeks of research, and then we had a researcher, Emily, on with us for quite a lot of it, kind of digging right into the Library of Congress.
Yeah.
I mean, that is such a good
Oh, the
read.
Library of Congress is my best
my
friend. It's
Oh,
my
yeah.
best friend when
Yeah.
I'm on a show. Yes, it is. It's a plethora of free information and downloadable. And if you know how to search it right, it's great. It can be frustrating, but it's great.
I think as well because we not a lot of our stuff here is open access, whereas American information is so open access to the public. It was really interesting for me as like researching is so much easier and so much stuff isn't copyrighted the way it is here as well.
Mm.
So you can find so much more. I have tips on how to
Oh, good.
navigate that Library of Congress website.
Yes. I will. We should share tips because I feel like
Yeah.
I know it too, and it's like, yeah, it is. It's so great to be able to do that. It's not redacted like many other
Exactly.
documents these days, so that's nice.
But
Um,
this The set was huge. It
Yeah.
seated 800 people, didn't it, or something?
Yeah, well, where did you get these from?
This is your ADG presentation I stole.
We'll see this.
Amazing.
Yeah, I had a fantastic art director called Chaba who drew this whole thing up, and it was in one of the. We were on one studio, and this was around the corner with this massive space.
Oh, yeah.
And but on the other hand, we probably only really furnished about half, and then,
It
another
extended.
2/3, 3/3, whatever, it went on into the it was massive. I mean, how they it must have been hell because nobody could hear each other, even, I mean, it's just awful. But we used a lot of cutout people further back,
Yeah.
which worked a treat as well to kind of fill the place up and make people feel like it was full. And yeah, it was very exciting
I
actually.
like to see the extension of it where they ripple the building because when you see the actual
Yeah, it goes on and on.
it goes on and on.
Yes,
The fountain and the
exactly.
whole center of the
Exactly.
Chicago Exhibition
Yeah.
Hall, and then kind of the height that you get in that building, and then kind
Yeah.
of mixing that with
And also all the
surrounding-
layers of people up,
Mhm.
up in the different
Over
layers.
the-
And some
yeah.
there's no women, or there was a big bunch of women up
Mhm.
there. There was a lot. It went on and on.
I should say I know Nick Offerman. No, like I've worked with him
Oh,
many
yeah.
times. I just did like 2 commercials with him through the winter, and I spoke to him a couple weeks ago and said how much I loved this show and how
Oh,
great
good.
it was, and he spoke so highly of the sets and
Nice to
was
hear.
was
He
so
was a lovely
impressed.
man, though.
Oh, he's
He's really
so
a
he's such
special person.
yeah, he is. And said the amount of extras we had and you could smell it like it was like, you were in that time. He's like and I
Yeah,
he referenced this set specifically of how like amazing it looked and everything. And was very happy with, the
that's
whole
good to
show and
hear.
everything. Yeah. I
Very
love
good.
love 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 him. I love every
Yeah.
performance in this to me. Like Michael Shannon, everyone was so good, which,
Mhm.
it's a
Yeah,
good
no, it's
show. I
great.
love it. Now this is a little blurry. I'm sorry because I took it
Oh,
and extended it, but I had to get this office in here in the White
mhm.
House because of the decadence you gave it with the chandeliers and the drapery and the desk and everything. It's not overcluttered. It's not like busy, which, we were kind of used to now, but it's so beautiful. It's such a restraint, but beautiful. I love it.
I think we were very anxious not to. I get fed up with that stuff thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
more stuff. And as you say, there just wasn't so much stuff at this point of history. And they travelled with maybe one other jacket. There really
Yeah.
wasn't a lot of. Yeah, exactly. So I think I'm really proud of these rooms and the
Yeah.
way we kept it and quite elegant
Yes.
and Hannah and her fabulous drapes and those gorgeous chandeliers.
Yes. Did
There
you
was
did you have problems finding quantity of things?
Well, we kind of we were talking about this. We
Yes.
sourced all over the place. We went to Paris. We went into Austria. We went to the Czech Republic. We went all over. We literally scoured everywhere. We brought stuff from the UK as well because the quantity of chandeliers. It was something like 16 chandeliers in that White House set all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And especially those long corridors.
Yeah.
The main thing that we had a problem with was lots of the chandeliers are candle, and at this time it was all gas. So it was more the fact that we had to get all these bowls to go on them. So I think it was like 200 bowls for that set or something. So each one, and that was one of our buyers, Minty, who's an absolute trooper, and she was getting like dead stock. She was getting manufactured, and it was putting all that together, all of this lighting, because you were always seeing through one doorway to
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they all came from everywhere. And we were really lucky to kind of go market hunt.
Yeah.
And we didn't own it. We rented a lot of stuff, but it was kind of like a massive logistics you'd get like the stuff from Budapest would arrive, then the stuff from Paris would arrive a week later, and then the stuff from Austria would come in from Vienna, and then we'd get some stuff from Germany, and it would all come together and arrive, and then we'd be putting it all up. So it was like truck transport galore on
Oh,
this thing.
how
But
much prep time did you have?
Oh, it wasn't too bad actually. We had a fair Bernie Caulfield, who's the producer. She's a
I
big,
know her
big
from so way back. I didn't realize that from Philly and NYPD. Oh my God, yes. Yes.
Well, well, I met her on Game of Thrones when she came and
Oh,
joined
right,
the
right,
set.
right.
You don't look old enough to be. I'm looking at you now.
I worked on Philly. I watched NYPD Blue, but I was a PA on Philly, which was like a
Well,
yeah. But
oh,
yes, I've always
oh,
loved her.
and she's a huge planner. And so honestly couldn't tell you in a million years how long we had, but it was a good time. We didn't feel like this show, Eloise, was really, really tough.
Mm,
And thank God we all kind of just went woof and got
yeah.
it done. Whereas that one, there was a bit more perambulation. We could travel around Europe looking for stuff. I mean, I can rarely go with my set deck team, but I did
Yeah.
do a bit with
Oh, nice.
and yeah, lovely, really lovely.
Oh,
Because
that's
for me, I'm not a sort of stuck at my desk type designer.
mm,
I like to mooch about and I like to see things and feel things. I'm always saying to them, "Oh, let's go out and look at wallpaper." You know, they're saying,
Yeah.
"We'll bring some books back." I go, "No, no,
no,
I
no.
want to go out and see what's there." You know, so that's always been the way I've worked all my life. So so it was
It's
great here, and so I could go to, as I say, go to Paris and help them and
Oh,
stuff.
that's great. I mean,
And then
because it
then
gives
you
you
kind of
ideas too. I mean, I always feel that like in the prop house, like, oh, I was looking for a black chair, but look at this blue one.
exactly.
Like I
I was
didn't,
just going to say, yeah,
yeah,
furniture can tell the story as much as anything.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
You think that way when you design as well? Every
yeah,
room's built for kind of the way that it's going to be dressed.
yes,
Mm,
The big
yeah.
the big one I always think is amazing about this one is this vestibule that you've got on your image. We found that flooring in the Library of Congress, and it's kind of a replica
mm,
of the Hayes flooring. And then, but the rooms here, you can go from the vestibule to the president's office through door after door after door. But it starts with like the waiting parlor, and then we go into Joe's office, the president's assistant, and then we go into the president's office. But all of those doors, when you've got Guiteau's character, like Matthew McFadden, waiting to kind of meet with the president,
right,
he's three doors away. It's like a
Yeah.
metaphor
right.
for how close he is to the
Yes.
president all the
Yeah.
time. And it was like in the architecture, I
Yeah.
just think that's so smart because in my head, I'm like, he could run through three doors and just be there.
Right.
We had that all that tension in the story of him trying to go from
Yeah.
one room to the other to get closer
Yeah.
and closer and then finally getting there. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Was that a design? Well, you're replicating what's there, I guess.
We were just looking at
Yeah,
the way things were done in the period, and
yeah,
they did all have interlinking of, and they went into other parts of Europe, older castles and things like those long sort of corridors with all the doors off it. And
yeah.
yeah, it was very much a way of designing,
Um,
architecturally speaking.
you have a lot of wallpaper. Did you design did you design the wallpaper? Did you find it? I mean, especially this one with the sheen in the hallways and how the light takes it is gorgeous.
No, we found all of it, and
Wow.
I mean, we hunted it down, but yeah, that was quite a risk. The whole one in the hallway, because that was a make or break. But yeah, I mean, I love that corridor. I think,
Yeah,
and the fact that we did the floor and the timber and everything on the floor, so
The
it was pretty
carpet
glamorous, wasn't it?
printed as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
printed.
We did a few printed floors and printed carpets.
Yes.
And kind of kept the wallpaper.
And we really made it ours, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
at least you didn't have to have an oval office rug made. I've had to do it twice and it's not fun. It's
Not yet. No, it's not
not
there.
fun.
I mean, we
Um,
didn't have to get the oval office rug, but we still printed that oval the off the
One that was
well
there.
it's the yellow room library. So we still printed that one because getting something made oval was
ugh.
quite traumatic.
Yeah.
So I read in your um thing there that it's 103 sets you had. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was.
I can't remember.
I think
if you told me that.
yeah, it's
It was a lot.
It was a lot,
huge amount.
and then we had like the.
I mean, we love
characters.
We love this farm. And
Oh.
Oh, I love that farm.
we planted the corn, we planted the kitchen garden, we created everything there. I mean, so much of it wasn't even shot. It was that tragic
Oh,
thing.
hate that.
Oh, it's so annoying. But what can you do? You have to do it all, don't you? Just in
No,
case.
yeah.
And
You-
then obviously the interior was on set and with wonderful painted backings and what have you. But we were very proud of this actually.
I
And,
love
we looked at the actual house where he lived. Then it wasn't really much help because by the time the museum part of it started, it was kind of years and years later.
mm.
So we took a few little sort of cues, but mostly we just went for a classic, a high
I love
farmhouse.
the detail of the columns on the porch too.
Good.
to give it some detail and not just like a square post. Like they're just it's beautiful and
Yeah.
it's a real like such a contrast of the story of him coming from the farm to the
Yeah,
White House is such a
I know.
crazy thing. But
Sure.
it reads so beautifully and him living in this landscape and then going into Washington.
Yeah,
It's
and then you
really
can see why he tried to do so much work back there before he had to go to
yeah,
Washington.
yeah, I can see.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, kind of bonkers. All those people hanging out on his front lawn. It was very crazy.
so the interiors are on set, and then the exterior, you built the big barn and the whole house,
Yeah.
exteriors, everything.
Yes. Yes.
The barn, the chicken, there was a barn, the chicken barn.
Which
There was
is
the,
sort of where the camera is.
yeah,
Mm.
And then round the back, there's the
goat shed.
was the actually no, this was the
Oh,
goat shed.
this.
That's the goat shed on that you're kind of spiraling.
Yeah.
And then behind that was a chicken barn, which is where you
Yeah.
received the telegraph.
Yes.
So you've got four structures there.
Yeah.
Wow. How long
And
was
that's what
this
happened
build?
after.
I mean, what was
It
this?
was quite a long time.
Yeah.
It was quite a long time by the time we prepared we had to put proper foundations and everything in there really. So it was a while.
Did you have weather conditions that hurt this build at all?
We
Or-
had spectacular summer.
Oh, it's
Oh,
40
good.
degrees.
It was so hot.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was quite extraordinary.
Yeah, it was good. It's because in Budapest it's quite landlocked, so you don't
Yeah.
get any breeze.
No.
It's gorgeous, but it's like 40 degrees. You're in
Yeah.
and it barely rains, and we had just glorious sunshine. The whole garden grew in
Yeah.
no time.
Yeah.
oh
at all.
wow.
Actually started a lot of the growing before we even finished the construction. But
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's great. Um, did you, I forget, this is his bedroom in the White House. Wait, let me go
Yes.
back to this thing. For the furnishings inside the house, you said that research-wise there wasn't much to go on. Did did you feel like, oh, I really want to give them like textures, or I really want to give them like, was there a purpose when you were picking out the furniture and everything? I mean, I know it's period, but
Well, I mean, I think we wanted a charm here
mm,
that was different. The White House was, as you said, elegant and sparse, but we wanted this to be a real strong home feeling and somewhere that would be hard to wrench yourself away from. I
right.
think.
I think there's a little bit as well we talked about because he often repairs things. Like in
Yes.
this, certainly in the discussion of him kind of
Making
building
the
this
table.
place, and
Yeah.
so we wanted to make sure that it felt like everything wasn't so far that if something needed repairing or something that's certainly in the kitchen. I think about
Yeah.
like there's a couple of cabinets that just felt quite rustic that we picked
Yeah.
up on our travels in
Yeah.
Paris, and we
Yeah.
bought some things at markets, and I think that feeling of the kind of like the not overly oiled furnishings as well, you know, because it really contrasts all that kind of sheeny, shiny
Yeah.
furniture in the White House. It's really, really crisp.
Yeah.
And there's something like softer in the woods and
Yeah. And
less
they created
curated.
it from their sort of,
Yeah.
you know, they were quite sort of, they were quite in love with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone was loved, the children were loved, and I think we wanted to kind of get that going. And of course, it was quite hard to find nice furniture. You had to,
Yeah.
but I think it was you know, I think his study was just this sort of huge amount of books and
Yes,
study
yeah.
and studiousness, you know, where he worked and
I mean, the kitchen is great too, getting all of those bottles and products, like everything, like
yeah.
period wise and everything.
Yeah.
Is that
I don't
difficult?
know.
Was that difficult to get the period pieces?
We sort of had like
Paris was good.
we did loads of
Paris.
and then we had great graphic designers who made a load of boxes and like butter pop, like loads of different things that we could then print onto the bottles and things like that. So there is a lot of products and like a lot of flour bags and all of that stuff that kind of came from research and then we brought in, and then a bit of kind of that real like fresh stuff, things from their garden as well.
Yeah,
Which that was what was
absolutely.
amazing about the garden is we could just go out and
Yes.
pick all the things
Yeah.
Oh,
like, that
that's
we needed to bring in. Like so none of
If
the
I hadn't taken them
yeah.
home for supper
yeah.
the night before.
yeah, exactly. So none of
Why
that
not?
kind of
Might as
got
well.
being
Yeah.
yeah. I mean the whole crew at the end when we were
Yeah,
wrapping, everybody's
exactly.
got bundles of fruit and veg to take home.
And I think in the
Oh,
kit
that's
also having that lovely ceiling in there made it feel quite sort of kind of rustic, but in
oh
a
yeah.
good way.
The
you know.
lower ceil I always feel like when I see lower ceilings in film and TV, like, oh, that must be a location because
Yeah.
it's hard to sell the the DP and the director on low ceilings and how tall is your actor, and Michael Shannon's pretty tall. And it's sort of
Yeah. Actually, what's his name?
Adriano.
Adriano. He wanted ceilings. It was quite interesting on all the sets, on the White House and everywhere. He wanted ceilings,
Oh, that's
ceiling.
good.
And the love of practical lighting as well, which is great because when you've got all these oil lamps, it really is useful to have it all kind of working, or see all that kind of smoke stain on them. I think it really lends a beautiful light to it.
When you go, I don't think I have it, but when you go into the offices of the politicians and everything, were there certain elements that you wanted to give character-wise in their offices?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about, what was the New York guy?
Winchester.
The little guy. No.
Oh, Roscoe Conklin.
Yeah. I mean, we loved this guy who's in the picture. Actually.
Yes.
I mean,
Great actor.
He wasn't in the White House, but we loved doing his place. I mean, again, in Budapest, there's a huge amount of kind of big squares, sort of quite rectangular, not very interesting, with maybe good wood around the windows, but they're not that interesting. And so, but they're like sort of a sheet of paper. So we put in a couple of columns, and we put in a new fireplace, and suddenly it was a place of some interest, and they always have these doors going through, etc. Again, this is a very Budapest thing. So you get lovely depth, and you have to tell the DP you can't give them more than one.
Yeah.
But and I think we worked really hard to get all the different characters in all the different. So, and then when we got to the White House, we had
Chester Arthur.
And
making his a bit more. We went a bit more darker, so we felt contrasty with Jim's office. Jim's office is like
Jim's office quite elegant,
and elegant, and Chester's is like darker and different shades in it, but more like his office. We really thought about the paperwork being untouched, like his in tray like overflowing, because he's just really not paying attention to what actually is going on. We sort of follow that, like as he steps up, you kind of see his in tray diminish and things like that. And then Joe's office with like having more of the kind of working elements, like the telegram machine and kind of people clocking in and clocking out, and the cupboards full with all the paperwork of who CVs and the employees and kind of hiring and firing of the White House. And so that's the office where it kind of fires on all cylinders. And really Chester's is kind of like completely different, because he's always got his feet up, and he's got a decanter on the side. He's ready to have a drink and read his newspaper, and that's in his tray on top of the stuff. So it's kind of nice.
No idea what he's supposed to.
Yeah. He's just hanging in there. He's just.
I like the when you flip through it at the end of the club that they went.
Yes, I love that club.
Didn't you like our porno on the wall?
Oh my gosh, I thought, what a good time! What a good time to like let off steam.
Such a laugh.
A big mural.
When the showrunner walked in, first of all, he went, "Oh my gosh, what will Netflix say?" And Bernie was there, and she said, "They will love it."
Yeah, really. Give it.
He was
Give it
so
to
funny, he was just a little bit naive and hadn't done a lot before, I don't think, and so he was a bit scared, wasn't he? But it was so funny.
I think it's quite a saucy mural. So
we just thought it was fun, we looked. It's Thomas Rowland, Roland, however you say his name, who was an actual cartoonist of the period, and they were quite rowdy bunch, and we just thought, let's give it something else,
All those political cartoons and everything that were happening at the time were very crude. They were very crude at the time.
That's exactly what we thought, so that's why we did it. And actually, the director loved it, so that was good.
And it's like such a blue set.
Is it hand painted? Is it painted or yes? Oh wow! And is this a set or is this a build on a location?
It was a build.
Yeah,
it was a set.
Oh,
at the studio. Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
We built a lot. Actually.
How many stages did you have?
A lot. How many stages?
4.
Oh, sorry, you have to forgive us. We are thinking that.
Oh, I know.
We had they were dotted around a bit. We were in a funny studio, but there was some up. There was 2 big stages up the hill, and then there was about 4 down where we were, around that courtyard, and then down the road a bit. We probably had about 6, and then we had another one for the Congress place. That was in another studio altogether.
Oh wow.
And some of them had to be, knocked down and something else built, because it was 4 episodes. But then you see 4 episodes, it's such a lovely amount.
It's 4 films. You did 4 films. I mean, I can't, there's no line to me from TV and film anymore when the bar is so high, and
I agree.
It's funny because I still think that there's a lot of stigma of like TV people, or at least with decorators, I feel like, well, they haven't done much film. I mean, I could do TV is so much harder. It's like, are you kidding
Absolutely,
me? Like,
absolutely.
it's so weird.
There's no difference anymore, I don't
No,
think.
there's none. Therefore,
It's certainly not with the high end that we're all talking about. I mean, I
yeah,
think obviously some of the more sort of soapy stuff, that's a different matter. But I
yeah.
think with this sort of high end stuff, sort of things you're doing, of course, there's no difference.
It's film. We're doing films, and
Yeah,
lucky to be doing. I mean, getting to do this period, it to me is so much fun.
yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Got really nerdy about it because it's not some I would say it's not a topic that I really know much about, and I got really deep in there and reading. We found like Senate paperwork from 1880, and I'm
Ooh.
reading through it to see which senators would be sat where, and
Oh,
what nameplate should go on each desk, and what each configuration, when we did the New York Senate bit, which configuration of who sits where
oh,
in places, like really, really deep dive about kind of, who which are all the delegates at the GOP party, and kind of whether things like the GOP elephant existed. And it was did real deep dive into, like, I love that about this job,
Yes,
is that
yes,
you
yeah,
get to go in
I
and you
love
get
it.
to start a topic and that you may not know anything about, and kind of go deeper and deeper
And then
into
you're
the
an
rabbit.
expert. Then
Yeah,
you're
and
like
then
an expert.
but only on this one specific thing.
Yeah, yeah, this weird
Really,
thing.
yeah,
and then there's a weird thing
yeah,
where you start forgetting a bit, like
Yeah,
the
yes,
John
yeah,
Adams
yeah.
thing. I should think, now what year was it that?
yeah, but I mean, look, how many things can you do, and then you can't keep all that information in there. You know what I mean? Like we move from periods, we move
Yeah,
futuristic. I mean, it
yeah,
there's only so much we can bring in there.
exactly,
Was
exactly.
there a lot of discussion about his bed and, doing it in was this true? I don't know. Was this true that his bed was is this his bedroom? Is it
So
the
this is
This is actually
the
our
library.
Oval Office, or
Yeah,
the library it was called
library.
then.
it
He
is.
was, it
Okay.
was a bit, it was a little under, it wasn't exactly said where they put him. He wasn't in their bedroom.
Yeah.
Right. Mm.
And it seemed to us quite an interesting place to put him,
Yeah.
where people could get at him. And they had this extraordinary, I don't think you probably really got it, but they invented this whole sort of air conditioning system
Yeah.
with ice, and they were running air over ice because it's so hot.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And that was an extra, and they had it in the train carriage
Yeah.
too,
Oh,
which
right.
device, I don't know if you recognize that, but we did it all in
Yeah.
painstakingly, but it was never really referred to, unfortunately. So I think a lot of people probably missed it. So we needed quite a lot of space in there for him, not to mention all the people that came and went. And so it worked quite well putting him in there, I think. And then also when we had to wheel him out, it was quite convenient to get to the
Yeah.
front door out of there.
But it was like a lot of political cartoons of the time were showing him in a bed, but not. They were just kind of drawing. You can see like the medical equipment around him and the bed and the style of the bed, but like nothing around nothing to tell you where he was, because
Oh,
obviously probably trying to protect him after he's been
Yes.
shot. But we've certainly got like that. Then this place, it was so open access to that festival, so we could have all that running in and out,
Yeah.
and people
Yeah.
kind of sprinting to take care of
Where
it.
he was shot, that was a location. That actually
Yeah.
was a train
the
station
train
that we,
station.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah. And then we built the room where he was then carried to,
Yeah.
so that yeah,
God, what a change in history if they'd just let that one doctor go for it. Like,
oh
I
my God,
know. Twist of fate.
tragic,
oh,
really.
it is. I
It
will
is
be
something.
honest, I didn't know the whole story. So
Yeah.
to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. Everyone needs to know this history, and you're watching beautiful sets at the same time. I'm in. But
Well,
I
also, I mean, that whole thing. I actually saw a play with Mark Rylance a few years ago. It was a big thing at that absolute point in history that they suddenly realised that people there were like somewhere with these wards, and where the women were the nurses and what have you, people were lasting longer than where it tended to be more men in there, because men weren't washing their hands and women were more inclined to keep clean. And that was a sort of bit of a incredibly lazy kind of experiment that was sort of
great.
vaguely looked
Yeah,
at.
him
And then
sticking
went
his
on
finger
and
in there
on.
is gross. It's so
Yeah,
like, oh, it's so cringing of
It's
like,
wrong.
oh boy, if you will there I think, there's a scene from that show The Nick, and they show it, the doctor coming home, not washing his hands and giving his kid a disease too.
There you go.
There's
Yeah.
a thing on that. I remember that now that you're saying it.
Yeah. Whereas that younger doctor who started off, he probably learned a
Yeah.
bit more about hygiene, and
Yeah.
he was shocked and appalled, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
It's
had a
tragic.
great little action props team putting they went through loads of different
They did
things and
great.
research on kind of the
Yeah.
suturing and the kind of civil, because a lot of the medicine at the time was like Civil War, so it's more like people's medical kits were more about amputating
Yeah.
than they were about saving anybody. So
Yeah.
they found some catalogs from the time
Oh my
period, and they
God.
kind of started recreating stuff,
Oh my
but it was
God.
just we got a lot of show and tells of like really, really gross prosthetics doing things. And I was like, oh, this is great to watch every day. Like episode 4 is just like a
Yeah.
series of
Yeah.
unfortunate
Oh,
puss
Oh,
events
puss events. It's another thing you become experts on, you don't really
in
want
a
to.
gorgeous library. So that's what
Yeah, yeah. Um, did you go through many beds and finally pick the right one for him, or was it very like,
we had it built actually, didn't
we
we?
built this one. So
Yeah, because
the mattress was built.
yeah, exactly.
no?
So that A, it would be accountable for Michael, but also because of all the various things that had to happen. So we thought that was the safest thing to do.
Yeah.
And I want to go back because I forgot to ask about the lighting. Are these all gas? Really?
No,
Gas?
they're electric. They're all electric, but we put taps on. If some places you can see little taps that we fixed to the lights, and then we put all the bowls on. But it was like it's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. It's like which bowl's going to fit on which light,
Right,
and
right, right.
so we just got things in, and like you can get measurements from someone, and then maybe they don't fit, and it was kind of like one of those things. It was like which hat fits on which head for the whole thing.
Yeah.
What they in the theater you have like lanterns. The house you
Yes.
have the lights. Are these where did you have these made or did you find these? They're beautiful.
We
These
bought them and then we
Yeah.
painted them.
Mm.
Yeah.
So we had them like
We strung lights inside them, but they were just like Chinese lanterns.
yeah.
Mm.
Just with lights.
Then we found there's some
And then
big red
outside
ones.
at the exterior of the conference,
Yes.
in Chicago, that you had loads of the trees there, didn't you?
We had those printed. We printed a lot of lanterns with the kind of variations
Yes,
on
the electoral.
stripes and
Yeah.
and
Oh,
so
wow.
created all the souvenirs we created from like research at the time, and then we had all the lanterns printed and fans printed and
I mean,
scarves
I
printed.
thought the exterior was fabulous, actually. And
Oh,
it was sort of a mixture of real stuff that we
Yeah.
did and Hannah did, and then also visual effects. And we had a really lovely visual effects team
Yeah.
that we could work very closely with,
Yeah.
really be involved with, which makes such a difference, both to them and to us,
oh yeah. Do you get to stay on with that,
No.
Gemma? No.
But he was a guy called Rainer Gombosch, who I had actually
Probably
worked with
pronouncing that
before.
wrong.
He's familiar.
Yeah.
And I'd also worked with the producer, Steve Kullback. So we were very familiar with each other and respected and liked each other, which helps a lot. And so we'd always be sharing concepts and ideas, and Rainer would be running ahead because he was really waiting for the shoot, obviously. But he
Right.
was getting a lot done while we were shooting, so that we were sort of involved there with him.
Oh,
So
that's good.
obviously it went off and shot. For example, I think down by the docks, there's too many boats. I don't have, that classic thing of, oh, we can do it like, so they put a whole sort of rake of sort of 4 or 5 huge boats, which I thought was too much. But I mean, if I'd been there, I would have said it. But I actually think he did an extraordinarily
Oh, yeah.
sympathetic job. Really good.
We did some shoots for them. Like
Yeah,
for
we did,
example,
actually, you're
like
right.
there was a big we set up like 12 market carts, and you built a piece of wall.
Yeah.
We put some street lights in for them to kind of ripple street scenes of them getting out of carriages.
Yeah.
So we did a kind of little
Oh,
VFX shoot.
We did a lot,
We
actually,
did-
those
we
bits
built
and bobs.
a
didn't
bit of
we?
there's a bit of the White House where we did an
Yeah.
ice truck arriving and things like
Yes.
that. So built little bits for them to kind of play with and extend and bring to
Yeah.
life. But we did that with like you've got all the extras and you've got kind of the foreground, and then them kind of making it feel like that big vista
Yeah.
of a street, or like when we were at Buda Castle, there was that other bit where
Yeah.
he kind of comes out of a carriage and they just ripple further along and
Yeah.
make it into an avenue in Chicago.
Yeah, I thought the street stuff actually was
Yeah.
really
Yeah,
good.
the street stuff is great, and especially the night shooting of it with the lamppost, like everything
Yeah.
looks so good.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah,
good.
he's a lovely man to work with.
We did one street exterior outside, which was
Yes.
the exterior where he's running away in Harry Hills. That was all kind of
That was
real.
real.
So
Yeah.
we did that one for
And some of the streets were that we did quite big chunks of when he's thrown out of the bank and then they're coming out of the nightclub.
Right.
Most of that was real. There's a bit distant things, and but there were some great carriages there and a good horse master there, wasn't there? That sort of thing. So I mean, we really went right across the whole gamut of what we could have and what we did. And I mean, I think that that's why it does look really
Oh,
lovely.
yeah. Did you have to make a carriage, or did you have to, where there's one
No,
available that you redid, or
we redid quite, we
redid them?
upholstered, painted. Some of them were a little bit dodgy, but we kind of, we just sort of pulled them up a bit.
Yeah.
So we had, loads.
There was
10,
great,
12.
there's great stock there. There's really great, like there's a few that like shows like The Alchemist that filmed out in Budapest. So there is like there's prop stores with things there. There's like the teams are brilliant at sourcing. There's a lot of antiques places. I went up to the Slovakian border a few times to an antiques fair there and bought bits and pieces. So it's and there's a weekly flea market. We bought a load of stuff from there as well. So there's really great stuff, and you've got really experienced crew who are good at sourcing as well. And so what we brought was our kind of, they brought all the local knowledge, and then we brought our knowledge of like the Paris and the France and the history and things like that. And because I think we broadened it out. Probably. Yeah.
Hannah, did you bring any buyers with you, or did you hire them? To me, I'd be like, oh, hire local because I don't know what's going on here. But you've been there before, so.
Yeah, well, I've been there as a buyer myself.
Oh, yeah.
So I know I went with other set decorators as a buyer, and I've been out there as an assistant set dec with other set decorators. But this time I knew that for me it's always important to have a buyer, because we at the beginning there was a negotiation about whether we could bring stuff from the UK, but because the White House itself at the time, the furniture all did come from the UK or France or Italy. Like we knew that we might not be able to find all of that stuff, because in Budapest a lot of the furniture is kind of more Germanic or a bit more Austrian because of the history of Hungary itself. So we wanted to bring someone, and I brought my amazing friend and an exceptional buyer, Minty, who Gemma had worked with before as well.
Oh, so when she said she got Minty, I thought, yes.
More excited about my buyer than me.
I've had that happen.
But having someone who could kind of know all that prop house stuff at home, who knows the catalogs as much as me, because we brought stuff, definitely lots of stuff from here, and then having someone to kind of recce in Paris with me and kind of talked. We had a French buyer for a little bit. We did have someone kind of in Germany for us, but we kind of went out to lots of places because we wanted to make sure that like if we went we could go internationally and look for stuff, and then the kind of local team could work there. And we had an amazing set decorator with us, Shuzha, and her team are all very experienced, and they had kind of like, we definitely had a team of buyers, and we kind of.
But they don't always quite see that they're, I'd say, perhaps they're still a little bit more steeped in their own traditional look, you know, and so that's why I think it's really good to have like a British set decorator working with them. But I think also having that, because actually going to Britain is one of the hardest things now when you're abroad because of Brexit and all that rubbish. And I was just thinking when you were talking that I did Lee there a couple of years ago. You know the film about Lee?
Oh yes, I do. I love that bathtub.
We had to try and do British interiors, and they wouldn't let us bring anything from the UK because it was a much smaller budget.
Oh, wow.
It was extremely hard. I mean, we managed to do their home, but it is very hard to do that, you know. So you and also to get people to really sort of see the difference.
Yeah. Because they, you're educating everyone you're working with. And the script can do so much, and here's our research packet and everything, but you got to have that eye too of be like, that's not quite our period, but so it really helps. It really helps when people are as into it as we are.
And the construction wise and painting wise and all that, they were second to none. They were incredible.
Amazing art department team.
It
was really lovely.
Really good art department.
We had great. I thought graphics were absolutely brilliant. Set dec team were great. Like it was a really brilliant team.
Yeah, and it was all round.
We did really well to kind of.
What would you say was your biggest challenge on this, though? I mean, it's a big show for 4 episodes. I was so bummed. I was so bummed when I was like, it's only 4 episodes. I only have one left. Like, oh. So, I mean, it's a lot.
Getting probably the contrast was quite, because the architecture tends to be quite samey over there, interior and exterior. If we're talking even just all the interiors we were offered on top of the stuff we were building, you can only build so much, you know. And I think sometimes trying to really differentiate the interiors, I think was quite a specific. Do you think that was quite hard?
Yeah. And then we kind of, as well, we were using interiors and revamping them for other interiors as well. So it's kind of you do one set and you dress it all, and then like 3 weeks later you're making that set look completely different style. That's always a challenge anyway. But you're doing that with kind of not the same level of kind of there's not as many prop houses to go to. You can't just walk around the corner and get stuff. So I think for me it was like the planning of it all, like really making sure that everything kind of came together from all the different places, or that, you know, we weren't using the same things again, or, you know, really kind of making sure that all of that arrives and the vision kind of comes together, because I think that was difficult, like, as well. But you had a fair amount of time kind of scouting as well before I even came out, so you kind of had figured out a lot of the kinks over there. So I think it was, all in all, it was kind of just the scope of it is really interesting, kind of make each of those like cities completely different as well, like to make sure that New York feels somewhere, Washington feels like somewhere, and none of it feels like Budapest, even though
well, none of it did.
That's the most extraordinary place, though. You know, people. I sometimes just have a look at something because I know it's been shot then. I sort of like, well, where's that then? Well, you know, I mean, it's you know how even if you go around a high house and you can look at a couple of chairs one week and think rubbish, and you go back there other my God, those chairs are
perfect.
amazing.
They're perfect.
Well, it's a bit like that, isn't it, over there? It's very strange indeed.
A lot of hidden grandeur when you go in places as well. I had some family visit one day, and I took them to Conklin's set, and they walked past one room and they were like, this is like a 70s office, and it had strip lighting. And then 5 minutes later you walk into the gorgeous set that you'd built with wallpaper, with the columns and the beautiful windows and all the drapery we'd done. And my sister was like, what is this? It was like the first time she kind of understood what me and Gemma do, even though we talk about is this like having a family member, seeing it for kind of how strange it was. Just the contrast between this very rundown corridor in a building, and then you walk into this place, but it has all this. It had this beautiful ceiling with all this moldings, and you'd kind of. And that had been kept in this one place, whereas sometimes lots of rooms have false ceilings, and then seeing it with that eye, I think it's amazing to kind of go through locations and go, well, that's got those windows and that molding, and I think we could do that with it, and
which I quite enjoy. Actually, I have to say, it's quite fun. I think finding those things.
Yeah, and being versatile like that, and telling producers and telling them like, we can make this work. We're the art department. We can make this work. I can do it. Yeah, that's the beauty of it. I am so thankful to get to talk to you about this because I love the project. I love you guys, so thank you so much. I will be cheering for you. If you don't make it, I will be cheering. So
thank you so much. Lovely to meet you.
Yes, so great. If you ever need anything. So that's it. That is my dork fest of Death by Lightning with Gemma and Hannah, and just so glad to speak with them. They are currently working on Eloise, lucky them, so I can't wait to see that project when it comes out, and hopefully speak to them again about that, because this was just, at least I thought it was fun. And again, it's a 4-part series on Netflix. Just binge it for 2 nights and then, watch the work. Again, ADG voters, you can go to adg.org under the awards and ceremony. I think it's under the awards section and all the nominees, and click and look at all the PDFs of everybody's work. It's fantastic. Go dork out on that, because that's why you're here. Dork out on design. That's what I should have called this podcast. Dork out on design. That could have been a catchy one. Again, I have new episodes that are just for subscribers. There's 2 on Patreon and Apple Podcasts. So if you want to subscribe to them, I'm putting out extra episodes every month for that. They're either deep dives, or this past episode was of how to get from college to call sheet. And it's a no bullshit way to get there. That's how I'm marketing that. So yes, and thank you if you are a subscriber. I really appreciate it. If you like this episode, hit follow, leave a review on Apple. it helps, or Spotify or wherever, Overcast, if it helps me more than you know, go to Decorating Pages on YouTube. This full interview is there along with many others and all of the visuals so you can see what we're talking about. And yes, until next time, I hope you got an earful. I'm Kim Wanup for Decorating Pages.